Progressive presents Get Pumped. Inspiration to help you do insurance stuff.
Okay, time out. You're gonna let your budget be the boss of you? Take control with Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Tell us what you want to pay for car insurance, and we'll help you find options that fit your budget. Here's some music to get you pumped. Da-dong, 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 dang, dang. I hear your budget laughing at you. Oh, wait, that's just those kids laughing at me. Ignore them! Da-dong, da-dong,
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Blog Talk Radio.
Are you ready? Get ready. It's time for your weekly dose of unembellished banter. 1.5 hours of music, politics, and news. Real, raw, intoxicating. This show is definitely not for the weak. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Welcome the hosts of Live with Philip Anthony and Valerie Denise Jones.
Hi, hello. Welcome to Live with Philip Anthony and Valerie Denise Jones. I am your humble host, Valerie Denise Jones, and I have been uber excited about today for quite some time because I have, I know a lot about this person. He's been one of my heroes for over 5, 6, 7, 8 years, something like that. I'm not quite sure when I was first introduced to, this person and who he was. I do know that his show ran about 7 seasons, if my memory serves me correctly, but since he's here, I will just ask him. I will simply just ask him, yes. And, of course, I'm talking about Mr. Joseph Judge Joe Brown, who is an American lawyer, and he's a former Shelby County, Tennessee criminal court judge and a former arbiter of the arbitration. My phone always rings, guys. Every single time I start the show, my phone starts ringing, and I get text messages, and it's so distracting. But anyway, I will get back to his bio because right now I just really want to jump into the show because I know we have a lot of information, and I want to read something before I go to commercial because we talked to, meaning the other person who owns the network, Philip Anthony Driscoll. We had a conversation behind the scenes with Judge Joe Brown, and he gave us a different insight as to, who Alice Johnson is. And I did some research today because I was all excited about the fact that this great-grandmother from Memphis, Tennessee, who became an ordained minister behind bars and writes all these beautiful stage plays, I was uber excited that Kim Kardashian, took time out of her life to advance Alice's cause. And then, he brought up a point, and then I did my homework today, and then I'm like, oh my goodness, there's like a lot of articles about this person, and the one that caught my attention was the one whose headline reads, Why Alice Johnson Deserves Punishment Despite the Narrative. And then I clicked on it, and this is it. And it's quite lengthy, so I'm just going to read it super fast and then just talk to the judge about it. But anyway, the subtitle is The Characterization of Alice Johnson's Crime is Wrong. She Deserves Punishment. And this is by the headlines and opening paragraphs of countless articles where about the push to grant clemency to a nonviolent first-time drug offender. Ethan Trump had just commuted the life sentence of a little old lady with 5 children who hit hard times in the 90s and fell in with the wrong crowd when she needed to make ends meet. What a great day for drug law reform, right? What Florida first-time offender deserves a life sentence in prison? In a short article Alice Johnson wrote for CNN, she says, I am only one of thousands of first-time nonviolent offenders given mandatory and lengthy prison terms after committing crimes under financial distress. It's hard to imagine that I have now served 20 years of my life for that one mistake. Now, let me tell you, again, I'm just skimming, I'm going over, because she confessed that she served as a telephone mule, passing messages between distributors and sellers. And then the article continues, and it says that, let's just get into the court documents, right? Okay, so Johnson was charged for money laundering and cocaine conspiracy, according to an article. And then it says, clearly the impact of 2,000 to 3,000 kilograms of cocaine in this community is very significant. The Federal list obtained court documents relating to Johnson's trial and sentencing. The indictment lays out in detail the overt acts the members of the conspiracy performed. These details show how Johnson was not just a middlewoman passing messages between parties otherwise unaffiliated with her. She was instead a manager of a tightly orchestrated drug trafficking operation. Among the acts, court documents say Johnson allowed cocaine to be exchanged outside her residence. She rented an apartment under a pseudonym. She delivered large sums of currency to other members of the conspiracy as payment for cocaine. She discussed transactions, directed another member of the drug ring, and they named him, blah, blah, blah. I guess he lived in Tennessee, but anyway, they transported the cocaine from Houston, Texas to Memphis, Tennessee. She gave plane tickets to Houston under another pseudonym who had just delivered a Nissan station wagon containing $1.5 million in U.S. currency. And, I mean, the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. And it is insane. So right now what I truly, truly, truly want to do is take a quick commercial break so that we can get back and ask Judge Joe Brown, what in the heck is going on? I am just like totally confused as to what I just read, because Kim Kardashian did her homework. I'm not understanding. I don't know. Kim Kardashian she's such a big heart, I guess, and maybe she was just thinking, oh, little lady sitting in jail. I don't know. I don't want to speak for her, but anyway, here we go, guys. I'll see you on the other side of the break.
If you missed the first episode of The American Diseased, Full-Blown and Fatal by celebrated New York Times best-selling author Omar Tyree, then shame on you. Now he moves on to episode 2, Survival of the Fittest, where the plot thickens as we find out who's next to fall into infliction. The American Disease by Omar Tyree at Amazon.com and wherever ebooks are sold. Episode 2 is now available and it's definitely trending, so order it, read it, love it, and find out why it's so contagious. In fact, join the American Disease Project radio show every Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Valerie Denise Jones, and view theamericandiseaseproject.com for more information.
All right, guys, we're going to make our commercial breaks. We're going to take short breaks because we want to get this information in, and we want to hear from Judge Joe Brown, of course. I don't really think he needs much of an introduction because he's been out on the scene for a very, very long time. But one thing that I really, truly wanted to do for him, because he told us he was a huge fan of reggae music. So this is going to be my introduction.
Yeah! Oh, Lord, oh, Lord. One love and togetherness. Oh, Lord, all the people.
I won't play the whole song, but I just wanted to have some fun because we are going to play 20 questions today. So welcome, Judge Joe Brown, to you live with Philip Anthony and Valerie Denise. How are you doing today?
Hey, the judge is in the house. How are you?
The judge is in the house. Yes, he is. Oh, my gosh. I am overexcited about this moment. I've been talking to everybody about this moment. I got a few people who are going to blog about it. You know, we got just a whole bunch of things that are going on behind the scenes, like the Childish Gambino video, while we talk about all this insanity. So I told you before bringing you on, I want to play 20 questions with you. And since you have agreed to join us on Fridays, starting at 4 o'clock, and you know you're going to come in and do a little bit of a segment, and we'll talk about that because I want to see how, you know, what you want to do, or if you just want to answer questions and kind of hang out for a few seconds, whatever. I'm definitely appreciative. But yeah, I'm real excited. So today we'll do part 1 of the 20 questions because I just want to talk to you, you know, for a quick sec, a little under, you know, about 30 or 45 minutes or whatever, and we just talk about, the things that's going on. I give you 10 questions. I'm going to play a sound, and I want you to tell me if this is annoying to you, because I'm the kind of person who I like to play games, fun games, but is this too loud for you, Joseph? Is that like annoying?
That's the bell. That's the bell.
But is it like annoying, like really annoying?
That is really annoying.
What about this? To let you know I'm going to the next question. All right. Well, let's just get started then. What I'll do is I'll start because during the intro I read a story, an article about Alice Marie Johnson, because I told you earlier, I was really excited that Kim Kardashian was on the mission to get this person, get the president to pardon her, right? And he has the power to grant pardon. And so I was sitting there thinking, well, dang, if they're saying like more than 3,000 people, are in jail, and they're in jail because of like they're serving, well, I'll just read it. It says serving life without parole sentences for a nonviolent offense in the federal system, and 65% of them are black. And then they said, and most of that percentage is, the drug offenders. So I was really excited about this, and then you gave me a different spin on this Anne Marie Johnson. So do you mind sharing that with our listening audience?
Oh, I'd be glad to. I've been getting calls all day from outraged Memphis citizens who were around at the time this woman was engaged in her criminality. Calling her, nonviolent is about like saying you got a mafia don who's ordered the execution, but he didn't pull the trigger, so he was nonviolent. That's not the case. There was a big thing going on in here in the late 80s and early 90s. It involved the Mexican drug cartels and the Colombian drug cartels. From what came out in some murder trials in my courtroom, she was with the Colombian cartel that had put out the hit on somebody that was working with the Mexican cartels here. So the homicide in question I had in front of me involved torture. They got paid $1.5 million to pull off the hit. They kidnapped some workers from Krispy Kreme, hijacked the truck, took the uniforms, and they went by a safe house operated by this group. And a shipment of $6.5 million was supposed to be coming through in terms of cash. They brought in a jackhammer like you see in the streets to get this safe out of the floor. The woman's house and her husband who were there were laundering money and had 7 or 8 used car businesses. They only got $400,000 out of the safe. They kidnapped this woman who was the mother of one of the drug lords that had the hit taken out on him. The drug lord resisted. They wound up torturing her mother and left her body in the middle of a farm field so it'd be found. The drug lord retaliates by having a number of people kidnapped and tortured, including 3 men with their mothers who were kidnapped and buried alive so they could slowly suffocate. And one judge, not me, wound up having SWAT teams escort him home all day long during the course of this trial. 4 or 5 squad cars of SWAT team members' cars parked around his house at night to give him security. I just told these characters on the matters that were in front of me, I said, I'm listed in the phone directory. Come on by and we'll party, but we're getting down to business on this trial. So she came out quite a bit during these proceedings over quite a number of weeks. And what she was doing is she was getting the money sent to her, millions of dollars, and she was dispersing the money. She was making the calls to set up the deals. And I know when they tried her over in federal court, the particular drug transactions, not all, but just the ones they were going on against her, involved 3,000 kilos of coke and several tens of millions of dollars. The total amount that she was supposed to be involved in included multi-billion dollars worth of cocaine in terms of tons, not kilos. So for a 7 or 8 year period, she was the person that was shielding the organized crime ring that was putting tons of crack out into the Memphis system. This coke was being made into crack. So the drive-bys were attributable to the organization she was being the go-between for. We had multiple killings, gang killings, street gang activities, not just drug cartel type. We had ruined families, people who died from crack abuse, families that were ruined by having a crack addict in the family. We had a bunch of crack babies around thanks to this woman. There was one thing in there they got her on about laundering money for her organization, which was in terms of billions of dollars. And it went through her hands, and there was another thing in there where she disguised the purchase of a house, where she put down more than $10,000 on it cash to get the house, paid the full purchase price in cash, and she concealed that. She was, as the trial judge characterized her after the trial, the quintessential entrepreneur, and noted under the federal guidelines that it had a significant impact on the community, which it did. They had co-defendants, Curtis McDonald and Geraldine McNeil. McDonald got a life sentence too. McNeil got 19 years in the federal penitentiary. And there were quite a number of other co-defendants who testified against her, who, even though they testified, some of them got up to 10 years. Now, she gave all kinds of little lightweight excuses for what she did, but speaking of lightweights, what really happened here is we had airhead in chief Kim Kardashian, who knows next to nothing about these issues, who decided she was going to be good because this Mick thing put out a video on it last year, and she's, oh my God, the poor grandmother. No, she wasn't a poor grandmother. She was a crime kingpin responsible for the death of quite a few people in this area over a decade period. And I know some detectives personally. They're going to do a movie on them. At great peril, they had to infiltrate these cartels for 10 years. There were blown up bridges, destroyed office buildings, multiple murders, many, many people wounded and injured in this whole thing. And this was one of the biggest things going on and one of the biggest sources of coke and crack in the United States. And this woman was the one that was arranging the deals, getting the money and dispersing the money. And it even looked like she's the one that signed the order on the hit that was on trial in my courtroom. So I'm just saying I'm appalled at this whole thing. It's ridiculous. This woman wasn't any lightweight, non-violent offender. This was a drug lord.
Right.
And
I think Kim Kardashian got caught up because when she wrote the letter for CNN.
She has no expertise in prison reform. She needs to take her little airway self back and continue to collect $4.95 a hit for her little amateur porn thing she did with Ray J, Brandy's brother.
Right.
And by the way, that's how they get all their money.
Right.
Her little. You go to any large hotel, motel in America, and you $4.95 or $7.95 for the long form, which is more boring than the short form. It's been doing this for 19 years. That's how they get their money. Or you can go
Right.
on Comcast, pay-per-view, or DirecTV, and you can get
Right.
it $4.95 to $7.95. That's where they get their money. She doesn't have any acting talent, and where does she get to be somebody speaking for the black community any damn way?
I
She's
think
Middle
that,
East.
I think it was the story that she wrote to CNN, because what we the media, tabloid media, presented to us was that this was this great grandmother who the only reason why she ended up doing what she did, because she called it one mistake, just one mistake, because she lost her job at FedEx. She had a gambling addiction. Her son had been killed in a motorcycle accident.
For embezzlement.
Well, her man left her.
Was going on 10 to 12 bloody damn years. Memphis was not safe. People were hitting the ground because there was gunfire outside directly attributable to the activities of her Colombian organization dealing with the Mexican cartel-backed organization. You've been reading about these fiends in the Mexican cartels. Well, that's just a late edition of what was really going on then.
Right.
See,
so
this was
tell
not
me,
just some one-time somebody.
Why was she charged then with a nonviolent drug conspiracy, and
She
they
wasn't
list her as a
charged with
telephone mule?
nonviolence. Well, okay, excuse me. You ever heard of conspiracy to commit murder in the first degree? Conspiracy to commit murder? Conspiracy to traffic in drugs?
Okay.
I mean, these were the most serious cases they could get against her for Schedule II drugs.
So what is a telephone mule then? Because that's what. See, we're getting all the wrong information, and
well, what was coming out in my courtroom was when the bad guys in Memphis wanted something done, they would convey that to her. She'd make the calls to the Colombians. When the Colombians wanted something done, she'd make the calls to the Memphians. When the crack came in, it would be delivered to her, and she would get the money in exchange or pay the money out.
Right.
So in other words, if you're paying for all of the cocaine coming in, they only went against her because they could prove that directly, was 3,000 kilos of coke, which was 90-some% pure, which they used to make crack with.
Okay.
And then see the other thing, everybody's getting on the NRA and these gun shows. There was also a lot of evidence that coming in with the crack, or with the cocaine, were shipments of real live Class 3 machine guns.
Right.
So you're talking about real AK-47 shooting someplace up. They didn't come through gun shows of the NRA. They were coming in with the stuff she was doing for these cartels. They were shipping in heavyweight firepower.
We were definitely
there's all kinds of
because
stuff.
this is several 100,000 people signed a petition, so they were definitely however that information was being communicated. I mean, it really didn't trickle down. Like, the truth never got out. And the way they glorified her exit on Anderson Cooper did like this beautiful interview, and they showed her in this positive light. I guess maybe because we're do you think that there's such a thing as rehabilitation, because she's been in 21 years and she became an ordained minister, so maybe people are forgiving her.
You want a translation?
Sure, why not?
She was backed by such a powerful organization, nobody was going to mess with her so she could be peaceful.
Gotcha.
Now, you want to talk about Anderson Cooper? You remember Trayvon and Zimmerman?
Right, I do, of course.
Okay, now, I interviewed Trayvon's mother on several occasions and sat next to her at a function. You know what she told me Anderson Cooper asked her not to do? He didn't want her to reveal something because it would reduce the impact of the story.
Oh, wow.
You know what it was?
What?
When Trayvon was killed, guess what? His grandfather was a lieutenant detective on the Miami Police Department. So was his dad.
Wow. Right.
So now you put that out with, hoodie wearing. Well, Zimmerman thought it was a gangster, yeah, but he's the grandson of some cops, detectives.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
Now, you see, doesn't that make a difference? In other words, just sleazy trying to drum up ratings. See, that's how they play this stuff. And we go along and we listen to what these know-nothing airheads or talking heads want to bop their little ignorant mouths and run off because they look cute and they've got the public attention.
Right.
This woman isn't even a black woman. She doesn't speak for the black community, but it's like Trump goes along with, okay, wow, I want to be known for helping this community out. I pardon Jack Johnson. Yeah, I'm a fan of getting Jack Johnson pardoned. My aunts, uncles, and grandparents used to tell me how they thought Jack Johnson was a hero back before World War One. How when we were getting lynched on a regular basis, the Klan was at its apogee. Well, Johnson was thumbing his nose at him, and he was going around whipping the Great White Hope. He was bad news. I mean, they didn't have rounds like 15 rounds. It was you fight until you drop your corner through in the towel. And he was destroying people, knocking them out of the ring. Right. Now, I want to get also, just one thing on Jack Johnson. To show up, to give you an idea of why black people liked him, they were talking about black people couldn't do stuff like drive machinery fast. So there was a guy named Barney Oldfield that was supposed to be this number one race car driver. So Jack Johnson bought a race car, challenged him to a race, and beat him. Right. Oh, wow. See, that's what we had. So Jack Johnson's cool. I can think of this going along grandmother. But see, you got an airhead, Kim Kardashian, and a bunch of bobble talking heads that sit there and run their mouths off about something they don't understand. Yeah, I agree. Marijuana
and she's not done either. She's not done.
I think marijuana. No, see, I think marijuana should be legalized. Some other things should be legalized, but crack ain't nothing to play with. Right. And all these damn fools running around. It's a victimless crime. Oh, hell no. When you've got somebody being one of the bosses, one of the key players in this game for a decade, and all of the crack that was coming around in here, and all of the people that died, got gunned down, all of the kids that got hit by stray bullets from fools driving by trying to deal with some drug turf. That was not victimless. And she was rich herself. Right. See,
and I want to tell you in the audience that Kim Kardashian says that she's not finished. She has other federal inmates who she's looking at.
Well, she needs to keep her little light behind somewhere tucked in a corner.
I want to also ask you because someone who I love his music and I love his oh God, he's just a consummate professional and well, I won't say professional, but there's a lot I love about 50 Cent. But I'm also afraid he was just green. There was he was just cleared to execute production of the BMF. I was trying to remember the acronyms. I'm sorry, BMF movie. And I would hope that we're not telling the world, that this whole drug culture is something that we should glorify because that was the case, back in the day. And so I'm just hoping that they're not. That's another way to make America great again, where the sex and the drug culture, is something that needs to be praised as opposed to, not. Yeah. Definitely based on all the things that you're saying right now.
That is a bad thing.
You think that's going to...
That is a bad thing. See, Hollywood periodically has money crunch problems. They get cash flow problems. So when they do that, over the last 50 years, what they do is they come up with what were called blaxploitation movies that appeal to us. So we go out and we pay, and we get fantasy put in our head. Like they've got a redo of Superfly. I can remember in 72, I was in D.C., and there was a line 5 blocks long to see Superfly. And before that, everybody in the D.C. area was wearing dashikis, afros, and going power to the people. After that, everybody was trying to fly their hair and, started wearing bell bottoms and platform shoes 6 inches high and trying to pimp out and ride pimp mobiles like that thing that they were driving around in Superfly. And, man, I got to check this coke, man. Like, hey, that sounds like the thing, man. Hey, well, what about the people, man? Screw that, man. Like, hey, it's fly, man. See, that whole thing negative went down. Black Panther, you had this movie. And
I'm glad you brought that up because I was
Disney,
just about to ask you that. Right. Okay.
See, Disney was behind the 8 ball, started out at $680 million. They got a judgment against them for being low-lifed and cheating some people. Some 15 years ago, there was a show. By the way, you said only 5 or 7 years. My show ran for 15 years, and for the last 4, it was either the number 1 or number 2 syndicated show. We were beating Oprah and Phil every week, and we were tying or beating Disney. Then they changed the rating so she'd get up ahead. They don't like straight black men in Hollywood. Most of these brothers you see down in the action-adventure things, they got another little side. Oh, my God, I just loved having this part where, oh, my God, I could just play Macho Man. Oh, my God, it was so thrilling. Like, damn, dude.
Right.
See some of these people in their spare time. But in any event, see, they're pushing that down everybody's throat. But Black Panther bailed Disney out, and we did it. Like Memphis, Tennessee came in with the number 1 box office in the country on that, and this is the highest box office income on a gross of any action adventure superhero movie ever. And can you see Memphis, Tennessee beating Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Dallas, Houston, Miami, Detroit? You see, Memphis. Memphis, why? Because it's the largest predominantly black city in America. So one theater called the Paradiso had the highest box office in the United States on the Black Panther. I call it Black Pussy Movie. Why do I call it that? Because they took quotes from W.E.B. Du Bois. They took quotes from Marcus Garvey. They took quotes from Rap Brown. They took quotes from Malcolm X. They took quotes from Huey P. Newton. They took quotes from Eldridge Cleaver. And they put them in the mouth of Killmonger. And they made Killmonger the villain. So they got all these black kids rooting against Killmonger, who is actually saying what all of our black revolutionaries and progressive black thinkers have been saying for the last 100-some years, but they made that the villain. They had him walking in looking like a pimp with 2 bald-head hoes on his arm, into the nightclub. And they're supposed to be his guards, but they telling him what to do, and his mama, the queen mother, and her sister, the aunt, and all of these women are telling this drone what to do. He's supposed to be the king over the most technically advanced nation in the world. And what is he doing? He's running around in some tights playing vigilante for some stupid white folk who got a problem with some petty criminals. And then do they do what Killmonger says? We need to take this technology, forcibly unify Africa, and then pacify the world and impose peace. No, they want to give it away. And Killmonger says, when you carry me, just throw me in the ocean with all the brothers that had the courage to jump off the boat that are being made into slaves. And we made him the villain, and we put this little fool that got beat fair and square, that some women committed treason to bring back into office by going against the tribe's regulation. And, oh, by the way, what was the only set-piece battle they had in the whole movie? It was black women against black men. They were having a fight, a war. See, and it's just the wrong imagery. We give everything we have away. We got black women against black men, which is a bad imagery to put out there. We had somebody that had the opportunity to impose power with high technology, which is why everybody else in the world is taking their turn doing it. No, they give it away, and they leave themselves hidden off in a situation where if you looked at the movie carefully, you don't see a single man, black man is a scientist. They're all women. You don't see any black male merchants down in that bizarre thing they have in some scenes in the movie. You just have a bunch of drones.
Right.
See,
now, I want to switch.
Very bad for the people.
Right. I want to switch gears because I want to we're not going to be able to get through the 10 questions because I definitely want to open the lines here in a second. But I want to ask you a couple questions because Steve Harvey's in the news right now because of his gorilla comment while he was on ESPN. Bill Russell put out a tweet where he kneeled after Trump canceled the Eagles' visit to the White House. And then something else that came out that was very interesting because I was all into the Bill Cosby story. And while we were thinking it was about NBC, I found out that it's possible that it was about the fact that this particular law firm had a problem that because they wanted to build a pipeline through Bill Cosby's property in Massachusetts, and they were losing trillions of dollars because of that. And that was another reason why they attacked him. So I definitely want to touch on those things later. But right now, just for the sake of time, because this seemed to be a huge, huge, huge problem, there are a lot of white supremacists running for office, and this makes me nervous, right? There's like they're saying, okay, don't call them white supremacists, call them white nationalists. Okay, cool, great, whatever. But here's the part that bothered me the most, and I really want to get your opinion on this because they're saying that they're not racist. They just feel marginalized because they feel like they're being oppressed. And it's really, really sad that the people who are running for office, as an example, this guy named Nathan Larson, he went to jail for 18 months because he threatened to kill President Obama. And then now he's running for Congress, and what he wants to do is make it legal. He wants to make incest and pedophilia legal, right? Because he has sex with children, so that's why he's running for office. And then you got this other guy who is it's clear that he's a white nationalist, and he's championing the cause to change Chicago's neighborhoods because he said that it's his goal to make the upper echelon, all the nicer neighborhoods 90% white. So what kind of advice you want to lend to us, because we need to repudiate these people at the ballot box. You know what I'm saying? Like, what do we need to do? Because this is the reality here, right? And it's making me a little nervous.
Okay, the reality is they had nothing new. They've been there. It's just that until you had Trump come along and they brought it out to embarrass him, which I don't care one way or the other. It's been there. They just didn't report it. They haven't reported a number of flat-out old-time lynchings in the news either. I went to a conference where we talked about 7 black folk literally being lynched, hung from tree limbs in northern Oregon in the forest with signs around their necks explaining why they got lynched. And I haven't been able to Google that. I haven't seen anything about it. So, you see, our media is failing us. So we've got the bigots are running, LGBTQ is running, and the feminists have people running for office. We don't have anybody running with any particular position to campaign for black folk. And the people that we think are campaigning for black folk are actually campaigning as secret feminist or LGBTQ types. So we've got nothing out there in the mix right now.
Right.
If you
Oh,
want to
wow.
really find out what politics and movies and everything else is about, they have a right to do it.
Yeah, I got it.
More power to
All
them,
right.
but basically our politics have been co-opted by LGBTQ.
Right. All right. What I want to do at this time, I really appreciate you taking the time to answer those questions. And I'm glad that you guys, this is a huge announcement. He has agreed to join us on Fridays, starting at 4:00. And what I want to do is, everybody who's listening, guys, if you're listening via the computer and you want to chime in, call 323-642-1143. Again, that number is 323-642-1143. And Judge Joe Brown will be joining us every Friday starting 3 o'clock Central Time, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. So if you got questions, hit me up, me or Phillip, up on Facebook. Mine is Valerie Denise Jones, and his is PhillipAnthonyDriscoll.com. I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, I'm just going to open the line up for a few callers, Judge, if that's okay with you. And, I guess we'll just pick up where we left off next week, because I'm really pissed that the media is giving a platform for all these people to share these abhorrent stories and the things that they're petitioning for. So anyway, here we go. Let me just go to commercial break, and when we come back, we'll open up the lines because I see a lot of hands up.
Media Fury Radio, hosted by Valerie Denise Jones, every Monday, 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. One furious hour of breaking news, exclusive interviews, behind-the-scenes first looks, and Hollywood's insane stories from the worlds of film, television, fashion, literature, and social media. Media Fury Radio. Fast, furious, relevant media. Visit MediaFuryRadio.com for more details.
On the first episode of The American Disease, Full Blown and Fatal, celebrated New York Times best-selling author Omar Tyree shocked the world with brand new and exciting characters. Now with episode 2, Survival of the Fittest, the plot thickens as we find out who's next to fall into infliction. The American Disease by Omar Tyree. At Amazon.com and wherever ebooks are sold. Episode 2 is now available. Take it from me, Rhonda Supreme. It's definitely trending. So what are you waiting for? Order it now and find out why it's so contagious. In fact, join the American Disease Project radio show every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Valerie Denise Jones. And view the AmericanDiseaseProject.com.
All right, guys, welcome back to Live with Phillip Anthony and Valerie Denise. We're joined by Judge Joe Brown, and I am, like I said earlier, uber excited because, he definitely took us deep down the rabbit hole, and I appreciate that. So at this time, what I want to do is just pick a few callers. I'm going to open up the line starting with a 216-386. 216-386, welcome. How are you today?
I'm good. Good evening, good afternoon to you.
Hi, is this Nate?
Yes, it is.
Hi, Nate. Hi. Do you have a question or comment for Judge Joe Brown?
I think I have both, actually. I have a comment.
Oh, sure.
I'm going to start with the comment first. My comment
Okay.
first would be, Brother Joe, I commend you for the just the quintessentialness of your ability to recant history. A lot of people are not scholars of history, and that is a very negative thing towards the black community. And as being the founder of Black Votes Matters today, our whole mantle is about making sure that the historical aspects of prior premier leaders, their wherewithal would be accomplished in modern time and moving forward in the future. So I truly applaud you for being one of those good pillars that we need to continue to push that up. So that's the first thing I want to say to you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. The second thing I want to say is recalling this case file with this woman. You seem to be very, very very, very methodical in the intel of the case and all of the extensions thereof that went along with this. One thing that you said that to me was most important is that you don't necessarily have to be the perpetrator of a violent crime in a physical aspect, but you can damn sure be a perpetrator of violent crime on a multi-level violent crime because of what you do that's an extension of an order towards a situation. And I want you to really just expand on that just a little bit more for the listening audience, because you said she wasn't maybe the physical person, but she was making calls where other people were doing. She was using people as a puppeteer towards other people that were also the perpetrators of massive physical crime, and that was hurting the black people. So why don't you just do me a favor and just go over that little tad bit again, and what you meant by that.
All right. That's an important thing, brother. Very important in our communities. I talk to high schools and junior highs a lot, and I tell the young women, I said, look, your sisters and your mothers and your grandmamas have had many an occasion to have to buy a black suit for somebody so they can bury him. And you're crying and hollering and hanging all over the casket and making a real show. But yet, you've been dating a big-time drug dealer because his money's long, because he's glamorous. So you, in a way, are just as much at fault for your kin being dead as somebody that pulled the trigger, because you're getting aid and comfort to the people that are conducting the enterprise. You see, there are those things. Somebody is executed in a gas chamber or an electric chair or by injection. Well, you want to blame the executioner, but the judge signed the death warrant and the jury did the conviction and imposed the sentence. See? So, who did it? I always had a thing where I said, if you impose the death penalty, you ought to be required to witness what you wrought.
I know that's right.
I tell you this, all these people that stand up talking about, I believe in the death penalty. I've seen a bunch of them, and they call you up crying 6 months later, complaining about they can't sleep at night. They aren't sure they were right voting for the penalty. You see.
I get it.
I've seen people jump up. Yeah, see, I've seen people jump up and down all around talking about, he's got to die and everything else, and the jury has a question. You bring everybody up in court, you read the question, and the jurors say, Your Honor, if we feel the victim deserved killing, do we have to convict the defendant? You see, there's all kinds of things wrong going on out there, and it's just this thing of, I'm not responsible. Well, see, the precedent's been set. They had these Nuremberg trials after World War II, and they wound up executing a lot of Nazis because they relied on, I was just following orders. They didn't even pass it on, so he got executed because they did it. That's like saying, okay, you had nothing to do with the concentration camps. You just signed the orders on who got put on the trains, or you made the arrangements. It's the same thing. It's all part of a machine.
What do you think we can do? Because we're really focusing on the early court, which is the domestic court and juvenile courts. We're trying to do a lot of preventive maintenance.
Get rid of juvenile courts. You need to get rid of juvenile courts. I don't think there's a need for them anymore, and around the country they have become privatized. So what they do is a really insidious thing. When there are alternative decisions that they might make, they take the one that's going to cause the most future disruption because that will generate profit-making business.
There you go. That's what I was getting to. That's what I was getting to. Okay.
We've got a particularly corrupt one here in Shelby County, Tennessee. For 50 years, it was run by a judge that was a sixth-grade dropout. and he was
Right.
wrote he couldn't even hear cases. See,
All right,
it's
Judge,
funny.
we're gonna Nate, just hang on tight, because if we have a few more seconds and we've got more questions, I'll definitely bring you back in. But I'm gonna leave your mic live. It's gonna be hot, okay? Right now,
Okay.
I would like to bring in 609-922. 609-922. You're live. Do you have a question or comment for Judge Joe Brown?
Hi, yes, this is Rhonda.
Hey, Rhonda.
Supreme. How are you, Valerie? Yeah, hi. Excellent show, Judge Joe Brown. Your commentary today was right on point. Lots of comments that we needed to hear, and I'm excited about the show. So, I understand that you're going to be having this every Friday, Valerie. I'm so excited about it because it's something that is truly needed. It's truly needed, Joe Brown. You're honest. You don't hold anything back, but it's really refreshing to hear someone be honest and also be educated and intelligent. It's intelligent conversation. And we need it. So thank you so much. Thank you.
And Rhonda, also, too, like I said, I want everybody, if you've got questions or topics or whatever, please submit them via Facebook. And also I want to say thank you to Don Jr., who is the reason why, we have, outside of Philip told me about it, but Don, I was told that he was the person who introduced us to Judge Joe Brown, so I want to make sure I give him credit. And I apologize.
Oh, yeah.
Judge, what were you saying?
I said, oh, yeah, I second that.
Oh. All right. Thank you, Rhonda. Hang tight. Your mic is still live. It's hot. I got a 404-914, 404-914. Do you have a question or comment for Judge Joe Brown?
Yes, I do. Hello there. How are you? My name is Demetrius
Hi.
Big Meats Taylor. I'm calling from Atlanta, Georgia. I'm originally from Detroit, and I'm the host of Dishing Tea with Big Meats right here on Blog Talk Radio as well. And also thank you to Don Jr. for introducing me to your show. This is my first time with you.
I hope
I'm
you come back.
Because I hope so too. Because I want to be quick because I know you're pressed for time. But Your Honor, I'm hoping that you can shed some light on this for me because I'm a member of the LGBT community. I'm a black man. And as a member of the LGBT community, I find it that we are so riddled with the struggle between black and LGBT. And oftentimes we as black LGBT members get kicked up under the table or carried on because we get lumped into the LGBT fight because our Caucasian counterparts are the face of it. And a lot of the stuff that you have been saying, we as the black members of that are trying to fight for our voice to be heard, to be at the table or whatever. And then with our community, as the black folks at the community, the fingers are always pointed at us of not being masculine, not being this, not being that. So my first question is, how is it that we as black people who are LGBT can come to the table or be accepted at the table so that we understand what the fight is? Because I'm on the front line fighting for my straight brothers. I'm the oldest of four. My brother passed on 5 years ago, but my brother was a strong, wonderful father. He was a black man who knew how to take care of his business and carrying on, and I helped raise him. So it's not that we are against straight black men or whatever. It's just that it seems as though we're under attack because of whatever, we get thrown up under that bus with the conglomerate. So how do we come to the table to be an ally and help fight the fight without having the internal fight? And the second part of my question is, I too have a thing with this Alice thing because it seems as though we're glamorizing the whole drug thing and this, that, and other. Yeah, it was a nonviolent crime, but I have a person who's been in jail for 40-some-odd years for a murder that he didn't commit, and the people who murdered him, who did the actual killing, have been in and out of jail 3-4 times. So in this particular case, how is it that a case like this would get us to learn how to work the system, understand the system, so that we can fight for those who really need to be who need to be let out of prison, so that it can have some kind of merit, because I don't really believe in glamorizing drug dealers and carrying on because it was nonviolent crime. Why was this a pardon? How come they just couldn't let her out and say time served or whatever without just being some big hoopla? And I'm going to let it sit there.
Well, okay, let's start with the first thing. I think LGBTQ has every right to do what they do and to advocate as they advocate. Let me just say this, that I think the LGBTQ movement has been used by the feminists, and I don't mean just any woman, I say that with the capital F, in a program that is anti-masculine.
Okay.
Do whatever you want to do, but don't make it anti-somebody, because you run into some problems when you do that, because what goes around comes around, and when you set up a precedent, it can be used in ways that you would never anticipate on the front end. So the problem I'm having is that it's okay for the gay crowd to do what they do. They're entitled to do it, certainly. It's just that it has been associated with an anti-traditional man thing that gets a lot of people up in arms about it. If it was just coexist, it would be no problem, but it's kind of like you want to destroy the way of a certain large group of people, and they get really weirded out when you do that. So that may not be the best approach. Now, one of the things that society has done is that they use black situations that are legitimate for one purpose, and they turn them around and misguide them or misdirect them or indicate through their airheads and talking heads so that people don't understand where they're going. Like, for example, Kaepernick's thing with the pro football players was complaining about police brutality, but they wanted to turn that around to being anti-vet, anti-flag, all kinds of other things, which it was never intended to be. So you got Kim Kardashian there, basically an amateur porn thing with Ray J years ago, been making her $4.95 or $7.95, and the family's been getting rich off of it, but they make her a spokesperson for the black community when that isn't what she is. Now, that's just about this principal thing we all need to understand. There are 5 ways of controlling a population that are involved in politics. One of them is what Julius Caesar came up with 2,000 years ago. He said, give them bread and circuses, and they won't care what you do to them. In other words, feed them and entertain them, and we are well fed, we're well entertained, so we pay attention to the Kardashians, Atlanta Housewives, NFL, Major League Baseball, everything else but what's going on around us, so we are easily controlled. The next thing is Machiavelli came up with it. He said, you give a person the chance, however slight, of becoming part of the oppressing class, and they will willingly help you impose all sorts of oppression on themselves and others on the slight chance they join you. And so many people act like, particularly this white extremist group, that they're going to win the lottery in 3 weeks, so they do all kinds of things against their interests. Next thing, the Nazi minister of propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, said, tell a lie one time, it's a lie. Tell it 1,000 times, it becomes the truth. Tell a lie long enough and loud enough, and you can get anyone to believe it. Joe Brown says the media today is no longer dealing with its mandate to provide information, it's providing entertainment. So
I agree.
Back into the bread and circuses thing, and it's useless. You have the next one, Lincoln broke it down, and he said you can fool most of the people most of the time, some of the people all of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. Our problem that sum is just getting a larger and larger, to be a larger and larger category based on mass media. So we get fed a bill of goods that's entertaining, it generates ratings, which are competitive, and we get into seizing on, well, we don't get into this, but they get on seizing organizations and pitting them against each other. So they've got LGBTQ pitted against the masculine group so that they perceive themselves to be enemies. So that's not good for anybody.
Right.
Yes,
so, Judge, can we hang tight, because we're actually going to have during the second half, we're going to have open the line for more questions. So hang tight. Your mic is still live. I'm going to open the mic now. I'm going to try and grab like maybe 2 or 3 more questions, and if we could do that, like Judge, in like the next 5 or so minutes before we take a commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about manhood, and you will hear the voice of Philo the Great, and he's going to ask Judge Joe Brown some questions about manhood. Again, if you are tuned in via the computer and you'd like to call in, the number is 323-642-1143. And right now I'm going to open the line up to 678-698. 678-698, you're live. Do you have a quick question for Judge Joe Brown?
Hey, Valerie. How you doing? This is Michael Gay.
Hi, Michael Gay. How are you?
Very good, very good. I'm glad I'm off work so I can hear this show. Hello, Judge Brown. Really enjoyed, really enjoying the show.
Thank
and
you.
I just want to ask a different type of question. You see, there's a lot of court shows, and I mean, I go back to Judge Wapner. You know, you got Judge Judy, you got Judge Mathis, you have Judge Joe Brown, and now you got the 3 judges on the panel. You got the husband and wife on the panel. There's so many shows. My question is, what do you think it is about court shows that people are so into them, and what is the secret that makes these shows last for so long, like yours?
Well, here's the problem, not the problem, and here's the basic reality. Until the 1920s, 1930s, America's number one entertainment was not operas, not plays, not ballets, not shows. It was their courts. See, when I practice here in Tennessee, I'm from Los Angeles, but I practice here, and sometimes I'd get in rural areas, and when there was an interesting case, Court Square would be full of people with picnic lunches and baskets, and they'd have loudspeakers out there so they could hear it. And their courtrooms were huge, and they'd be packed to the rafters because there is drama, there's intrigue, there is humor, there's oratory, there's tension all going on in these plays. I mean, these cases. Up until the Lindbergh trial, where it just went in terms of where it was going into being a debacle. You know, people had radio in the courtroom, and they paid attention, and people kept up with these kind of things. So when you have these court TV things, all it is riding on the fact that this has been America's number one entertainment for a number of years. From the early 30s, it started off on radio. We had these radio dramas that became TV dramas like Guiding Light and, you know, All My Children and all this other stuff that were driven by Procter and Gamble, and they called them because there were soap companies, and they assumed that women who stayed at home and were housewives would be listening and prone to that advertisement. But they went someplace that never should have been gone, and it was turning America into a nation of people that accepted sleaze. You know, Erica is trying to get her daughter to see that she can't deal with so-and-so because really that's her half brother, because, you know, your daddy was sneaking around with so-and-so and so forth.
Right.
and really, but it might be the uncle. So that was contrived. But when you got these court shows, they would actually see humanity, and people would say, "Where do you find those people?" Say, "Well, they're real. I wouldn't take a case unless they actually had filed in somebody's small claims court." And I was operating with the benefit of a California Supreme Court and a U.S. Supreme Court decision that said what we were doing was conducting binding contractual arbitration under first California law and then under the U.S. Arbitration Act of 1928. So it actually was enforceable. So you saw the raw thing, the real deal, and it was not contrived, and there was a bit more order to it than what you saw on Maury Povich, et cetera, where they just generated fights on stage where they'd sling arms and legs and throw chairs and stuff at each other. So it's basic raw human drama. And the thing that sets court shows apart from the soaps is there was resolution, or is resolution. In other words, this is what you heard. What is supposed to happen when you find it? Usually the soaps say nothing about it. It's just episode after episode, year after year, the same garbage behavior. But here you get somebody chewed out for being wrong, and people look in and say, there's a jerk that like that down the street that needs it. I remember one time I was driving my Porsche on the 101 out in L.A., and I got pulled over 3 times in a 10-mile strip by Highway Patrol to come up and shake my hand saying, you know, I saw that case. We live on the same block as that clown. You really stuck it to him. He's been needing it. He's an SOB, blah, blah, blah. So you get a catharsis that goes on in here. There's a reality to it. That's one reason I think that they do so well.
All right, Michael. Judge, we're going to open up another line. We're going to take 2 more calls before we go to commercial break. And when we come back, Philo the Great is going to get under the wheel, and he's going to take us on a journey as we talk about manhood. Again, the number to call is 323-642-1143. And like I mentioned, after Philo, we will open the lines up again and circle back if we need to. Right now, I'd like to open up the line to 216-509. 216-509, you're live.
Good afternoon,
Hello.
everyone. This is Daryl Williams of the Team DLW Unity Movement. How you doing, Valerie?
Great. Happy Friday.
Thank you. And hello, Judge Joe Brown. I have a couple of questions for you. The first question is, with a lot of the shootings going on nowadays, the police shootings of black people, and also the killings that's going on, do you feel if once we start putting people in the position of prosecutors, judges, and things of that nature, do you feel at that point we will start seeing more people that are being held accountable for these shootings rather than not? What's your opinion on that? And I'll wait for your answer.
My answer is maybe. See, there's one thing about judges, prosecutors, and police and a few other professions. You attract those who aren't so well squared away with themselves. They are proving something to themselves, and some of them, frankly, got run home from school too many times. Mm-hmm. So they cloak themselves with the authority of the office, and they are trying to act as they think the office demands, that is, with power, instead of acting with equity and justice. Most of these police that do these shootings and do these things, they're cowards. They're scared. And I know the type. I grew up in Los Angeles. They called it South Central, but not when I was there. That came later. And I noticed the person that was most dangerous out on the street was the one that was the scariest. He would be the one that would shoot you first for no reason other than his fear drove him to do it. And that's what we've got. We've got too many cops who shouldn't be cops because their psychology is off. And they're too fearful, and they're trying to prove to themselves that they're brave, so they do stupid, vicious stuff in that line. You've got too many prosecutors to take this thing the same way, or they're into playing a game where it's like tennis or chess. They want to rack up a big score. And you've got too many judges who, let's put it this way, they can't walk where the people are that they preside over. In other words, I always said, I'm the village chieftain. And I'm doing what village chieftains are supposed to do, which is imposing peace, dignity, and public order. And I took it in that light, but some of these people take it in the light of the individuals in front of them are varmints, and they are protecting the ranchers' cattle or the farmers' crops. So it's a bad thing. We need the right type of person, a person who has been out there, not a career prosecutor. Career prosecutors are some poisoned people. Power corrupts, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and a career prosecutor has been too near total power for too long not to be corrupted because they have no consequence to worry about. They've been in somebody's office where they aren't elected. They are in somebody's office where they're insulated. And they have become narrow people who aren't fit to go any further because they have not had the labeling experience of working with others who don't necessarily match their mindset or who may have another side to the story.
Right.
Now,
So,
if that
Judge
makes
Brown,
any sense.
pause right there. Daryl, hold your question because, like I said, we just need to take a quick commercial break after this next question. I'm going to do one more, and then we're going to talk about manhood for a quick second. So, Daryl, I will make sure that I come back to you so we can get that other question from you. Right now, 858-322, you're live. Do you have a question for the judge? Question or comment?
Yeah. How you doing? This is Ali calling in. Wanted to speak to
Hey,
the judge.
Ali. Hi.
All right. And I just wanted to say, man, I really thank you for your time and you feeling it, and you can hear it in your voice how comfortable you are to be here talking with us. And I appreciate that because we got a lot of arrogant people out there in the world, man, that just think there's all that, and they can't give back but just a voice. We don't need your money, but we do need the voice. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you for that, sir. Also, I wanted to say that I really liked your Rick James courthouse thing you had that time on your show. I really loved that one, man. And
I remember
also,
that.
Yeah, and also I wanted to ask you, man, I know you're from L.A., and I'm from L.A. too, and I know you ain't scared of nothing, but I wanted to ask you, with all that you know and all that you give us with your voice, does anybody ever try to keep you quiet, threaten you, say, hey, Judge Brown, you know what I mean? You tell them a little too much, man. I just want to know that,
No, I haven't had anything from that quarter because I've always said, if you want to take it to another level, here I am. Let's do it. But I have had this happen. I was the last judge on this James Earl Ray matter. And my conclusion is that Ray was not the gunman. He didn't kill King, and that's supported by the King family itself. The weapon that was used to kill King, actual weapon, was supplied by the FBI. I came up with the invoices for that. And the ammunition that they got supplied perfectly matches what they pulled out of King's body. Well, I had that to say. So it's been about 20 years ago. I was at home. It was in a place called Whitehaven. And I am of a habit of staying up real late, so I had the television on, but the sound down low. I was a bachelor, and I heard some stuff out in the front yard and something in the backyard. I've always got some hardware handy, so I supplemented the pistol with a 12 gauge, and I watched somebody remove the screen on the front and on the back, and they had one of these window cutters with a suction cup, and it's an arm that makes the diamond part go around in a circle. They cut the circle out, pulled it out, reached in, and started climbing it. Well, they were white, and they had on dark clothes and looked like they were wearing Kevlar. So when they climbed in, I saw they had weapons, so I opened up on them. I hit everybody involved, I think. You can hear bullets when they hit, but they had Kevlar, so I adjusted my aim, and there was a blood trail front and back. There were about 20-some shots fired, a bunch of bullet holes in the wall, which I had to repair. And at that time, it was interesting. I called the director of police, a guy named Winfrey, who I'd known for years, and we checked, and there were no calls, no reports of anything, no reports of gunfire that had been recorded. We found that strange, and I just have to say it was quite interesting. I mean, it was exciting, you know. I kind of got my jollies off, but I'm secure in what I am. I'm one of these crazy type people, Judge. I told you earlier to show people about an experience I had with an orca. That's a killer whale. They're very distinctively marked, and I watched one kill 3 dolphins, large dolphins, 1 week. 3 weeks later, I was doing a survey, and I had a slate, and I felt some water, a pressure wave, and I looked over, and 5 feet away, there's this killer whale that I had seen slaughter these dolphins. So he and I looked at each other, and I was saying, you know, damn, excuse the language, but I hope I don't wind up as whale shit. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, really. But I said, you gotta go, but there's nothing you can do. Observe the circumstances. I had a big knife. I said, I'm gonna get some kind of blood, you know, even if it doesn't do any good. He's way too big for this knife to do any good. But anyway, he and I looked at each other, became acquainted. He swam around me when I decided to swim the 1/4 mile back to the boat. So we were underwater, and when I got close, he went down deep, rushed up. I got shoved aside by the water pressure. He breached. He went all the way out of the water and came back with a huge lamb, you know, swam off. I got back on the, gee, man, did you see the orca, man? That was the same one killed those dolphins, man, 2 weeks ago. I said, yeah, I was in the water with him. But you see, after a while, you find out about yourself, and you start, well, you find out how you think. So, right. I mean, when they broke in, my thought was like, oh, goody, I get to try some of this stuff and see if it works. So, anyway, when the excitement died down, my thought was, damn, this is going to be real inconvenient. An investigation and all of these fools in the newspaper, how do I explain this? You know, but I didn't have to explain it, so it was cool.
That is hilarious.
But it was
right,
interesting.
We're gonna. That was too funny. All right, so we're going to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, Female the Great is going to discuss manhood with Judge Joe Brown. All right, guys, I'll see you on the other side of the break. Well, shit, that's hilarious.
We could have tuned the performance suspension of the Cadillac CTS Sport Sedan on any closed course. But we chose the tight, punishing turns of Germany's legendary Nürburgring instead. Because at Cadillac, we don't just take corners. We take on the world with a car Motor Trend calls a bold, savvy, uncompromising showpiece, and that Edmunds.com elevates to top-tier status. The exhilarating Cadillac CTS Sports Sedan, now with premium care maintenance standard for 4 years or 50,000 miles. We don't just make luxury cars. We make Cadillacs.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy, Philo the Great. The Philosophy EP is out. It's available everywhere they sell music digitally. I need y'all to go get that. You know what I'm saying? It's out. Hey, man, y'all stay tuned, because the group EP, the Alpha EP, is coming soon. The group EP, the Alpha EP, is coming soon. So y'all stay tuned for that. You heard? Until then, man, y'all go visit the website, 4eradio.com. Once again, that's 4eradio.com. Let's get it. Go.
Welcome back to Live with Philip Anthony and Valerie Denise. I am your host, Philip Anthony. We have been talking to Judge Joe Brown, top of the hour. He was interviewed by Valerie, and great job. And we got into some real extensive subjects, various subjects. So now we're still here with the judge, and we want to jump into this topic known as manhood. We want to discuss manhood. So at this time, Judge Joe Brown, I want to just jump right into it and ask you, what is your definition of manhood?
Okay, here you go. It's 10,000 years ago, and you and your homeboys decide you want to put on a summer barbecue, so you got to go kill the main course. But the main course weighs about 3,000 or 4,000 pounds and can stomp you flat. So you got to get out there, put yourself on the line to get the barbecue ingredients, and maybe something slipped up, went wrong, but one of your homeboys is out there. He has the courage and the personal bravery to stick himself in harm's way to save you. So you had to get into the habit of being able to have people who would watch your back, so to speak. So there were characteristics associated with that: bravery, courage, then duty and honor, accountability, and such like were things that had developed that were necessary for men to be men, so that when the stuff hit the fan, you could say, all right, come on, you're proven men. We got to go deal with it. So you see, that's a component of masculinity that says to anybody who is familiar with it, it says he's proven. He's like a lifeboat. Most of the time, you don't need a lifeboat when you're on a ship. But if you get a Titanic situation, you need a lot of them, and you need them badly. So that's what we do. The whole thing is have you been brought up the right way so that you do have physical bravery and courage? Have you been acculturated and socialized so that that is of importance to you? Do you also have that other thing in you that tells you, in situation X you don't do something, and in situation Y you do something? So you are a man of peace who, when time calls, can be brave and courageous. Now, we don't have that, and we have a lot of things that prevent that. There was a movie called Back to the Future where McFly goes back and sees his father, who was a subject of being bullied, stand up for himself, knocks the bully out, and when he gets back home, instead of the bully tormenting him, he works for it. See, we don't like that now. Part of becoming a man is being able to handle a bully or standing up to one and having the courage to put it on the line and risk getting a bloody mouth or a black eye or bloody nose, but, holding your own, or at least doing enough damage so that the bully decided the next time he didn't want to be bothered with you. That's part of the rite of passage to manhood. But now the police, the school teachers, and the parents are supposed to handle it so the kid doesn't have to address it. And a common theme you see in these cretins that shoot up the hallways is they had a problem with bullying they couldn't handle because they didn't know. And what's that all about? Well, basically, humans kill better than any other animal on the planet. We are the apex predator. And when you are an apex predator, that says a lot about your inner nature. Now, if the kid gets a chance to confront his beast, as he's growing up a lot, he knows his beast. So the beast doesn't have a habit of jumping out of nowhere and surprising him. But these boys that are raised now so they don't get in touch with that beast, they get surprised when it lurks and pops out and don't know how to handle it, and they go freak and go postal in the hallways or in the hoods, because one of the problems with what goes on in the hoods is, frankly, there's not enough man training. And too many young little girls are having babies, some of whom are boys. And if you told them that they needed a man, they'd look at you straight in the eye and say, what I need a man for? And then some other one will chime in, yeah, honey, what good's a man for anyway? Well, if you don't know what a man's good for, how are you going to raise your son to be one if you don't know what he's supposed to be about when he gets grown? So we've got a bad problem with a lack of manhood where we live. But manhood is basically being a well-rounded person who can utilize his innate abilities, and his potential and aptitude to kill in constructive ways and be socialized and acculturated so he doesn't let that beast turn on his own people. Now, that's a short version of it.
Right. So let me ask you this. Do you, in your personal opinion, feel like we are in a state of emergency regarding manhood in the present time?
Yeah. Yeah. See, 60 years ago, 55 years ago, there was a clown named Spock who came up with a different twist on child psychology. He talked about unconditional love. You should always explain to children, never corporally punish them. Then we had the beta boys. These are white guys who didn't fit into the macho image thing for manhood that their people had established. Then we had the feminists who hated men and wanted us destroyed. And then we got a anti-war thing that came up with things they'd say war is a man thing. So a way to stop war is to change the way boys are raised to men so they're raised like girls. They should be raised so they emote, they cry, they shout, they let it all hang out instead of being so uptight and under control. If they're under control, they deal with duty, honor, and country, and they kill things. So they need to be more like women. So they holler and scream, shout, throw crockery, and stamp their feet, and that's supposed to be safe. So when you put all that together and then you give them an opportunity to take over Hollywood, the world's foremost propaganda engine, and run it, then you got a dangerous mix, and you get right where we are right now. See, back in the late 60s, every Thursday and every Sunday, the mark changed, and you got 2 new movies each Thursday and 2 new movies each Sunday, plus several cartoons and a minor feature. So a movie studio had to put out 105, 110 movies a year, and they were going broke in competition with color TV. So they saved it by going to you go there and you pay 4 times as much to see one movie, and once it's over, you got to go rather than being able to sit there all night for your 50 cents. And then they started coming up with blaxploitation movies, so we saved them. So these guys got in place, and they've been feeding us propaganda for the last 50 years. And the propaganda is not cool. The propaganda is, to an extent, I think, designed so everybody chokes on what they see, and it pushes dysfunction. That's how we got Kim Kardashian, dysfunction typical of the situation that we face now. who's given a voice like she's done something that merits her having a voice. You notice she doesn't talk much. But they seem to think somebody like that is someone that should be a spokesperson for something. So we get dysfunction glorified, and dysfunction perpetrated is something to listen to.
Now, Judge, and what impact do you feel society has played on manhood and the way young men are carrying themselves? Because I see a difference from when I was coming up, and I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. I was raised in Memphis, Parkway Village, right off Chuck Winchester, went to Sheffield Elementary, Sheffield High School, graduated from Wooddale High School, so I'm a product of Memphis. Now, I want to say I see, and I see a shift in from what I seen growing up and how we ran in packs to now. You rarely see young men running in packs. They're alone, playing a game, or the style of dress nowadays. You see tighter pants, tighter shirts. You see the dyeing of hair. Does society, do you think this is a society thing? Do you think this is a parent thing? Because we all know they say it starts in your household. So I want to know your outlook on that.
Well, I wouldn't say it's a society thing, because I don't think the majority of society thinks that way. What's happened is the majority of society is being quiet because they're being told they think that way by the Hollywood media. They say this is what's so, but it's like, okay, fine. See, like GLAAD, GLAAD, which is a gay rights organization, has put the proposition to Marvel, DC, and all the rest of them. They want 50% of the action superheroes turned into being gay characters. Now, like I said, they've got their rights to advocate whatever they want to, but the fact of the matter is 50% of the population is not gay, you see. So it presents a skewed impression, sagged and bagged. Okay, we see people walking around, the lower the sag, the cooler the dude, so they've got a belt strapped on below their butt cheeks, trying to hold their pants just on like their leggings or something. First time I saw that in 1980, be frank, I was interviewing some client out on the yard to do a late appeal for him. And I saw that, and I said, "Man, what the world is that?" He said, "Oh, Lawyer Brown, it's like, man, it's like this. We got everything up here except soft booty, so we making us some man pussy. See, we make some dress like that with their pants hung down and them baggy shirts on, so see them trees when the guards ain't around, we pull them down, bend them down, and get down. And when they're on the cell block, we don't let them wear no drawers and that shirt. That'd be his dress. We already done made him up some jewelry up metal shop, and Jamal got his baby sis sending a care package with rouge, eyeshadow, mascara, lipstick, plastic nails, and nail polish. We gonna girl dude all the way out. So that's a signal to everybody that he's a short timer that we can turn out for the benefit of us long-timers and lifers. So, some years later, I saw Crisscross, I think it was on MTV or BET. They were strutting around looking like man pussy up in the jail. So by 1990, it becomes an indication that somebody's strong and already, this is my booty, don't touch it. So you got it exported outside, and you got these boys walking around looking like their man pussy off in the joint. They don't get it. I didn't show you how badly they don't get it. I saw some people trying to propagandize about what's wrong with it. They said, well, look, if the brothers can't do this, when they showed an example, how come the girls can do this? So they had a real pretty-looking girl with her butt cheeks out, but they didn't get the idea that there was a difference between those boys and that fine-looking babe. One thing's appropriate for the society when it comes down to women looking a certain kind of way and boys another. But you see, we try to blur those distinctions these days, and it doesn't work out. this hashtag Me Too is interesting in that some women don't react very well to it. Like one woman told me, said, look, we women spend too much money trying to look good for men for us to be jacked around by a small percentage that get offended when men react to what we've been trying to do. See, so and then you get them, man doesn't have any right to tell a woman how to dress, and, you know, it's no excuse if she's doing this, she's doing that, she wants to dress like this. I said, well, look, lady, it's like this. You've got a right to have money in your pocket, right, or your pocketbook. Yeah. It's legal currency. As long as it's not counterfeit, you can have all you want, right? Yeah. I said, but you'd be a damn fool to pull a bankroll out in the wrong neighborhood, wouldn't you? Well, yeah, what's going to happen? They'll hijack you, right? Well, yeah. I said, well, sir, you have an absolute right to dress any way you want, but if you are dressed the wrong way in the wrong neighborhood, they're going to hijack your booty. See? So, you know, there are realities. See, a lot of what goes on in terms of the feminist thing is mistaken because they assume that men are going to defer to them. And that's not always a safe presumption. Some males don't have that in them. Men do, but some males haven't had man training, so they don't have any respect for women. Maybe it's because they really don't respect their moms. I was in a restaurant not long ago, and there were 4 or 5 very large ones sitting around a table forking down food, and 6 or 7 young kids just running amok in the restaurant, and the management kept bringing them back to the table, and they seemed more concerned with forking food than making sure that the kids looked like they had any home training, which they did prize they were housebroken. But you see, they grow up now, they will be what? A problem. So they get backed up with what they do.
So you touched
what
on
do we
something.
Need to do?
We
need to go back.
Okay. And when you say go back, give me that solution. Go back and do what?
Okay. For the last several thousand years, everywhere all races, color, creeds, nationalities, you have a consistency in what is appropriate for children to do, a basic consistency. You've got a consistency in what is it appropriate for mothers to do. You have a basic consistency in what it's appropriate for fathers to do. So what we need to do is go back to what's worked instead of what they're trying to come up with in the last 50 years after 50,000 years of something different. It does not work. And you get fools running around in the hood shooting the place up and in the hallways shooting them up and going post. See, so we have to deal with fantasy as separated from reality. And a lot of what is so attractive and so seductive about this new thing is it absolves people of having to be parents. In other words, it ain't as hard to just sit there and let your child grow up like a weed instead of having to cultivate him, you know, and train him and socialize him. It's easy. We can go do our thing while we have children without dealing with the responsibilities to those children. And when you're out someplace, go ahead.
No, what I was saying is I hear a lot of young men and a lot of mothers, young ladies saying, there's no good men out here. There's no real men out here. They either dead or in jail or really black men, or they use the term gay. So I wanted to ask you, in what era do you feel the government focused on removing the black father from black families?
Well, when I first started practicing law going on 50 years ago, one of the first kind of cases we had was getting the check cut back on when the welfare department cut it off because a man was seen to hang around the premises. Sometimes they were just deadbeats, but often they were fathers trying to give some proper training to the one or two kids out of the 7 or 8 that the woman may have had in the household. See, so that's bad. That's hooked up with these juvenile courts that are money-making propositions. That destroys families. That doesn't help them out. And then some myths. For example, every statistic confirms this. What ethnic group pays their child support most regularly in the United States?
Is it African American?
Yeah, it is. We are way beyond everybody in our reliability to pay child support. Now, but that isn't what they try to put out there. That's why Jesse Jackson got caught on that open mic in 2008 saying he needs his balls cut off, talking about Obama, when Obama was at this Father's Day function in downtown Chicago saying black men are the worst about taking care of their children. Actually, we're the best. But then it gets pretty bad elsewhere. That's just that a certain segment of the population, white feminists, thought that being married was a form of slavery. So they looked at sister in the hood that had a bunch of kids and never been married as a role model. And they looked at the chaos that went on in our home sometimes about hand on hip. Let me tell you what I'm going to make you do. Oh, yeah, all right. See, they appreciated that. They said that's the way women should act. So they took that as a model. And they pushed it. And it got the fool young girls or the women that didn't know what was going on thinking that was the way to do things, and they've been trying to spread that through the whole culture. See, girls need fathers at home, too. So you got a daddy at home and you want something. She comes up and says, Daddy, could I have $20 to go to the mall? Baby, I just gave you $20 day before yesterday. Daddy, please. Come on, Dad. Well, look, here's $40. Don't come back and see me the rest of this week. I won't, Daddy. Thank you so much, Dad. See, she'll grow up as a woman who knows how to deal with men. You take the type that has never dealt with Dad, and they'll put hand on hip and start waggling their heads. Look, let me tell you what you gonna do. And that doesn't do anything at all because she can't make the man do it. All she can do is get him mad or drive him away.
Right. So look, Judge, I want to pause for the calls right now and go to the lines because we have a lot of callers, and I want to open up the lines to ask you questions regarding this topic, manhood. And I want to start right here with 626-394. 626-394. Welcome to Live with Phillip, Anthony, and Valerie Denise. You're live, and you have a question or a comment for Judge Joe Brown?
I sure do. How is everybody this evening on this call? How's everybody?
I'm fine. And how are you? And who
I'm real good. I am Colette Williams from the Intentional Talk Radio Network, Change Matters, and I'm listening to Judge Joe Brown and to the rest of your cast members, and I thank you very much for allowing me to participate with you this evening.
No problem.
I think everybody's feeling. Okay. Well, my question for Judge Joe Brown is, we are probably baby boomers. We're probably in the very same age range. And there's a pushback between the baby boomers and the millennials. And we try to talk to millennials to get people to understand where we are and where we're coming from. And this new age is really a difficult thing to try to navigate through. What is your recommendation for baby boomers, and what is your recommendation to millennials? I deal with a lot of millennials. I also work in education, and it is a very, very challenging place to be. I see both sides of the spectrum, And you speak my language, Judge. You speak
All right,
my
let me
language.
give you my perspective on it.
Thank
there
you.
ain't nothing new under the sun. There comes a time in everybody's life when they shock themselves because they said something, and they suddenly have an impression of, I've heard that before. My dad said that, or my grandfather said that, or my uncle said that. You see, everybody gets there. One of the things that I've found works with millennials is, from my perspective, it's like, look, young dude, you full of it, man. You're an embarrassment. We used to cause our grandparents and parents to get all freaked out about what we were doing. You ask us for, why are you asking us for advice when you ought to be scaring us by what you do? You're too passive. You're pussies. You've been turned inside out. You don't know where the hell you're going, and you're certainly not aggressive enough. It's not all right. You're getting bamboozled, and life is going to be bad for you. Stand up, act like you got some nerve, and do something. See, that's that fourth generation thing, and I don't mean human generation. I went to UCLA. I had the first generation at UCLA was Jackie Robinson, who was the baseball player, Kenny Washington, first brother to play NFL, Don Barksdale, first brother to play in the NBA, but they all maintained a B-plus average at UCLA. See, Jackie Robinson, they don't tell the other side of the story, which is, why does he play baseball? He got court-martialed. Right. Why did he get court-martialed? He had his 45 on because he was officer of the day. When they told him to move to the back of the bus, testimony at the court-martial was he had his 45 out, and he was saying somebody's going to die tonight besides me. But they won't want you to know that part, but see, those brothers were down, you know. And then you've got the next group of brothers that I was part of them. We came in, Lucius Allen, Mike Warren, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You know, they're all classmates of mine. We came in, and even though they had careers in basketball, you could always count on them as, you know, brother, we got to make a move. Let's do it. So when I got to UCLA, we had 60-some thousand full-time students and only 145 black students, 72 undergrads, 73 grad students. We decided to do something about it, so within a year and a half, we got in 250 black students as a block and a few more. I recruited John Huggins, Bunchy Carter, Geronimo Pratt, Lane Brown, Nathaniel Clark. They were all Black Panthers. We had an interesting class. We were together. The fourth generation was the second 250 we got in there, and what happened with them was, brother, we got to make a move. I'm sorry, brother. You know, I appreciate everything you've done for us. It's not that I don't appreciate it, but I can't afford to jeopardize my career. You'll have to go on without me. Drag that fool. So in one case, the one I'm thinking about had on gray slacks. We drug him to the confrontation. He got so scared he peed on himself. He had on his gray slacks, and you could see the pee stain all down his left leg and a puddle of piss by his left shoe. So, you know, we had cowards who didn't have the balls, didn't have the cojones that the first three generations did. That's what I mean by fourth generation. Right now, what's wrong with the millennials is they need to grow some cojones. You know, they've got the youth more so than us, and look at this. I'm frightened people for being radical. The judge is crazy. Listen to him do something. Yeah, but, I mean, that's supposed to be not grandfather. That's supposed to be the grandson. So where the hell is grandson with, you know, doing something that's radical? You know, they talk about stuff like everything's all right, which it's not.
Right. So Judge, right now, what we're gonna do is take another caller, because for the second time we're getting towards the end of the show. We've got about 10 minutes left in the show. So right now I want to go to the line 818-358. 818-358. You're live with Phillip Anthony and Valerie Denise. You have a question or comment for the judge. You got it.
Greetings in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. This is Pastor Don Jr., CEO of the Entertainment Worldwide Network. Our broadcast network goes out to 66 countries, 1.5 million listeners, and total global audience with 100,000 podcast downloads. And we have 25 AM and FM markets running rebroadcasts of our show. I want to give props to the 4E Radio Network, all the hosts, and then to the owners, you, Mr. Anthony, and Sister Valerie Denise Jones, and for you, Judge Joe Brown. I just really love how you're getting on these shows and putting the wisdom out. If you could kind of talk about the level on how the people are not properly utilizing this Wi-Fi to actually change the world, because back in the day, y'all didn't have the Wi-Fi, but now that we got it, we're not using it properly. Can you kind of bring that to the forefront? Oh, well, yeah, it's technology. See, we don't get into being educated in those fields that will make fundamental change or give you some explanation of how the world works, either physically or governmentally or whatever. So it would behoove some of us to get into school so we really learn the technical aspects of all of this modern communication net that they have out there. And when we use it to get informed, not just to gossip. There are some people that are critical thinkers, you can see looking at some of the media, and some that are very far from it. And by the way, I do tweet at Judge Joe Brown TV, even though I do not have a blue check. Judge Joe Brown TV, that's me. But some of the stuff you get is very erudite, and some of it is very foolish and vacuum-headed, you know. But we have to make a determination that knowledge is an important thing. And we have, unfortunately, a trend to say being knowledgeable is not cool. That's bad for us. We need to get into getting the knowledge of how this stuff works and changing it. See, the People's Republic of China last year invented the world's fastest computer system. If anybody ever kept up with Star Trek, you know that beam me aboard, Scotty? They actually beamed some matter from the planet Earth, the surface, to a satellite in orbit and did it multiple times. You know, they transported matter. That's very deep. So we need to start doing something comparable like that, and that means from day one, we need to start from the first grade on and start utilizing it for the free information that comes out of that and pushing the envelope instead of trying to worry about how we can get out of learning and what we can do to dummy it down. You see, we ought to be ashamed of how far we have fallen. At the end of the U.S. Civil War 153 years ago, when the Union Army took a survey, it was astonished to discover that the only completely literate units in the whole Union Army were black. And generals and officers said, you know, come to think of it, you never see a black soldier who doesn't have a book to read and a slate to practice his writing on. And now look at us. You can't get us to go to school.
Right. So
we've got to take advantage of education so we can get up to speed on these technical things.
Right. And I agree. And then that's a good point. We do. We winding the show down. The show is getting ready to wind down. So I'm going to take one more caller. After this call, the next voice you will hear after we get this caller in will be celebrity consultant Valerie Denise Jones. She will be back to close the show. Hey, I done had a great time speaking with you, Judge. I've been enjoying myself. I done learned a lot, and I want to thank you for stopping by. Please make this your home. I look forward for you coming back next Friday, and we get more in depth with whatever topic that you would like to talk about, because you're very knowledgeable on various topics. So I am Phillip Anthony, a.k.a. Philo the Great. You can find me at philotthegreat.com. It's PH like phone, ELOTHEGREAT.com. So I'm going to bring in this last caller, 216-224. You're live with Phillip Anthony and Valerie Denise. Please state your name, where you're calling from, and your question, concern, or comment for Judge Joe Brown. You got it.
Hi, my name is Ebony Fire Mitchell. How you guys doing?
Hey, how you doing? How you doing?
That's good. Thanks, Valerie, for telling me about this show. Joe, oh my gosh, I just love it. I'm so excited, and I feel honored just listening to you because I used to watch you on television. But I again just learning stuff I ain't even know, especially about Black Panther. Oh my gosh, I never knew that side of the movie until you broke it down like that. I love it. But I just want to say that, thank you for all the knowledge that you had, instilled in us today. And I'm sorry, I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. Just in case I didn't know. But, yeah. Thank you.
Cleveland's all right with me.
Huh?
Cleveland's all right with me.
Yay! I hope we win tonight. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I was just about to ask you that, Evan. Do you think y'all gonna get the W tonight? So how likely is it that Cleveland will win tonight?
Cleveland gonna win. I think that's all politics, if you ask me. All that is just, rigged at the end, very end. But I believe we gonna win tonight. Just to keep it going. Just to keep the viewers watching and the money, the NBA getting money. So we gonna win tonight.
Well, that's good. That's good. So at this time, I'm going to turn over the show to celebrity consultant Valerie Jones. Valerie, please come back in and close the show. I have had a ball. Again, I am Phillip Anthony, a.k.a. Philo the Great. And I'm going to turn the show back over to Valerie. And thank you again, Judge, for coming. And I enjoyed speaking with you and learning from you today. And please come back next Friday.
My pleasure, young brother.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you so much.
This is has been a great show. Very, very, and I got a chance to laugh, which is really, really nice. I wanted to go back to guys. We got about 3 minutes. I'm gonna go around the board, super, super quick, starting with Judge Joe Brown, of course, to get your contact information because we want you to network, to share. Our whole goal is to create somewhat of a Black Wall Street, a cyber Wall Street, the urban with an urban twist. So, I'm going to go back to Ebony Fire because I want her to give us her contact information, and then I'm just going to randomly go around the board real quick. And I'm going to start with Judge Joe Brown after Ebony gives us her information because she has a lot of background noise, so I'm going to get her out of the way.
Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. My bad. Again, my whole first name is Ebony Fire. My last name is Mitchell. I am a life insurance agent. You can contact me at 216-224-5311 or through Facebook at Ebony Fire Mitchell. If you need any coverage, give me a call. And I'm also hiring people. I have my own agency as well.
Okay.
You can get me through Twitter at Judge Joe Brown. Follow me, and we can do a private Twitter exchange.
Okay, give that to the people again. That's at Judge Joe Brown
at
TV.
Judge Joe Brown TV. At Judge Joe Brown TV.
Okay, you all got that at Judge Joe Brown TV. So let's just keep it moving. Ali, please come to the line and give the callers your contact information. You got it. Let's get it.
And you can reach me at Ali on Facebook and God Rapman on Twitter. Come in peace, or I'll give you that eye like Judge Joe Brown did that well in the water, man.
Actually, Ali, I had a little sound bite for the judge that I wanted to play.
That's
okay.
Yeah, that was hilarious. Yeah, Don Jr., I definitely want to make sure I give you, all the praise today. Again, under the Holy Spirit and the Father and the Son, under them. Of course, we always give them praise first. But thank you so much for bringing Judge Joe Brown to us. I appreciate that. I love your life. And, my phone is acting real funky. So right now, guys, I think we're on the other side of the break. So be quick, but I am going to go on and open up your line. We got a new friend to the family. His name is Big Meech. Big Meech, can you give us your contact information real quick, please?
Sure. Real quick, you can reach me. Everything you want to know about Dishing Tea with Big Meech at www.dishingtea.com. That's DISHINGTEA.com. Or email me directly at bigmeech, BIGMEACH, at dishingtea.com. Or they can call me at 404-914-5610.
All right, Big Meech, I am going to reach out to you because I need to talk to you about CC Peniston. Okay, I'll call you later. All right, so right now I want to open up the line 678-698, 678-698. I think that would be Michael Gay, correct?
Yes, you are correct, Valerie Denise Jones.
Hi.
I really enjoyed the show today. Philip Anthony, great job. Enjoyed the show. Thank you, Judge Joe Brown, for joining the show, and look forward to tuning in next week. You can reach me at The Michael Gay Show on Facebook, or you can contact me at sheldongay@att.com, and .net. That's sheldongay@att.net, and also on Twitter at Tripod Boomstand. Everybody asks me why I said that, but hey, it's said and it's spelled the same way I just said it. Tripod Boomstand on Twitter. So, and hopefully you guys can tune in tomorrow to the Michael Gay Show on the J. King Network. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate that. And then right now I want to go to 626-394, 626-394. Can you give us your contact information so we know how to reach you?
I certainly will. This is Colette Williams from Change Matters Solutions and also the Movement. And I can be reached at 214-586-0658. That's 214-586-0658. And Change Matters airs every Tuesday, 4 to 6 p.m. California time, 6 to 8 in Dallas, and 7 to 9 on the East Coast in Atlanta, where I am right now. Our show coming up on this coming Tuesday is going to be fantastic, and it would be a great thing for Judge Joe Brown to be a part of that show also, as Valerie and a few others from this show. So please remember, we are Change Matters Solution, 214-586-0658, and we can also be contacted via uberconference.com/Change Matters 99. And thank you so very much. I look forward to hearing from all of you on Tuesday in your time zone. Change Matters. We bring you solutions. Take care.
Thank you, Ms. Williams. I appreciate you. Right now I want to go to DLW. DLW, you got the floor.
It was a really great show. You guys can make sure that you contact me at Team DLW at sbcglobal.net. That's my email. And you can reach me on Facebook at Daryl L. Williams or Team DLW Unity Movement on Facebook as well. And our show airs every Sunday at 5 p.m. It's Team DLW Unity Movement, where the focus is educating, elevating, and motivating our listeners to a higher level of consciousness and awareness in order to empower and uplift our communities around the world on the J. King Radio Network. Thanks a lot, Philo the Great, and Valerie Denise Jones. Appreciate you much. Great show. Thank you, Judge Joe Brown. Have a great day.
All right, Judge Joe Brown, I think we made it. Oh, my God. Yeah, and I saved one of the best for last. I'm not sure if he got a chance because I did drop. God, forgive me. This is Valerie Denise Jones at ValerieDeniseJones.com. But Don Jr., again, I thank you so much for introducing us to Judge Joe Brown. And I want to give you the last 30 seconds before we get out of here. Guys, have a great rest of the day and a good weekend. All right, Don, do your thing.
Amen. Well, all heads bowed, all minds focused on God. A lot of wisdom went through, and we want to make sure we send this up to God. Heavenly Father, right now, Lord, thank you for breaking bread with us, for giving us a chance to live our lives, for us to impart and to change the world by coming together, discussing ideas, knowledge, technology, talking about how things can be changed, because through your will, we will work together as we connect and put this out here on this digital platforms, on the new time capsule, God. Use us as empty vessels. Fill us up with wisdom, resources, finances, and the right romances and love that we need to continue moving these spirits that don't know. Send us to the four darkest corners in the earth so we can shed light. And for the ones that don't understand the light, let their voices and their mind and spirits receive what we got. We forever give your name honor, praise, and glory. If we did, said, or done anything that's been displeasing in your sight, please forgive us. If we're going against the wrong things, Lord, show us the right way. Make all crooked paths straight. Cover every generation that's represented upon this line, and cover every ancestor that wasn't represented by prayer. We will ever give your name honor, praise, and glory. In Jesus Christ's name, amen, amen, and amen.
Amen. Thank you so much.
Fasten your seatbelt. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Live with Philip Anthony and Valerie Denise. Are you ready? Get ready for your weekly dose of unembellished banter. Real, raw, intoxicating, never boring. 2 full hours of sports, music, politics, and news. Oh yeah. This show is not for the weak, the weak-minded, or the faint of heart. Join us every Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Visit 4eradio.com for more details.
Hi, it's Jamie, Progressive's Employee of the Month, 2 months in a row. Leave a message at the... Hi, Jamie. It's me, Jamie. I just had a new idea for our song about the Name Your Price tool. So when it's like, tell us what you want to pay, hey, 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 and the trombone goes, blah, 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 and you say, we'll help you find coverage options to fit your budget. Then we just all do finger snaps while a choir goes, statements coming at ya, statements coming at ya. Yes? No? Maybe? Anyway, see your practice tonight. I got new lyrics for the rap break.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
The Starlight Lounge presents an evening with the Progressive Box.
Oh, what a great audience. Let's dim the lights for this next one. Nope, too much. There it is. Gotta get things just right. Like Progressive's Name Your Price tool. Tell us what you want to pay, and we help you find coverage options that fit your budget. And now, the mood is right. Wait, the lights are back on again. Trudy, can you? And now it's completely dark.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.